We don't do that type of show anymore.
Hello, welcome to Sports and Songs podcast. We're on season 7, episode number 12. This is the sports edition today. Andy, how are you doing, and who's our special guest?
Good. This is Savannah. She is going to be helping out our new correspondent here. I'm in North Carolina right now, visiting young Savannah. We're here in the Savannah studios.
First time seeing her in person, right?
Yes.
Well, she's got her little bow. It looks like she's good to go. She's wearing her Mets
shirt. So we're
Mets
ready.
colors.
Yes.
Love it. So we got sports tonight. Today is January 26th, 2026, our last episode of January here for sports. We'll be covering some football, some winter sports. I'm sure we got Olympics, World Baseball Classic coming up. Lots of stuff to talk about. Andy, I'll kick it off with a trivia question. We'll get the answer at the end of the episode. Andy, what do you think took place on this day? What do you think took place on this day in 1992? A Super Bowl. Which one?
Oh, okay. All right.
Which one?
Right. Okay. Oh, yeah. We don't want to talk football. Sorry,
1992. That took place on this day in 1992. So we'll have the answer with the back. There's a good story that goes along with this, of course. So stick around to the end of the episode. You'll get the get the full story. But we'll go on to some sports now. Andy.
Yeah, so I'll go on here. I had to hand off here so I can do my clicking and flicking here.
There we go.
Right, here we go. First of all, 14 days till spring training.
Ooh.
So, you know.
And that's Mets or everybody?
That's spring training in general.
Okay. Countdown
So
is on.
everybody else starts that same week. So in a couple weeks, we'll be starting. Games probably start about a week after that.
Awesome.
I stand corrected. We talked about how Myles Garrett set the sack record this year.
Okay.
Like, but he had an extra game and he had extra games. Well, this guy broke down how many snaps there were that he was on the field for. So Strahan got his 22 and a half. He had 567 snaps. TJ Watt had 616 snaps for 22 and a half. Myles Garrett had 437 to get 23 sacks.
Okay, so this is the kind of common denominator. It evens it all out. This is the true champion here.
Kind of like, home runs, how many at-bats did it take you to do it? Stuff like that, Not seasons or games per se, but how many at-bats? This is how many snaps. So kind of blows it up a little bit better there.
I like it.
All right, we got Super Bowl coming up. We got some local boys in here. First, Jack Gibbons, heading to the Super Bowl for the Patriots. Gopher alumni. And also, Mr. Boy Mafi for the Seahawks, born in Golden Valley. Hopkins High School, played for the Gophers. He's one of us. And also, Nick there, he is also the other tight end, also from Wayzata, also played with the Gophers. So we got a couple local boys there. Got a couple Bison playing for the Seahawks. Zabel and Seidel playing there. So you see some local folks there. Now also, FCS has had some players in the Super Bowl this year. We'll see who we got here. Of course, Rashid Shaheed for Seattle, who returned the kickoff against San Francisco. Sets a couple good games here in the playoffs. Weber State, so that's a FCS school. Cooper Kupp, of course, from Eastern Washington. And now here we got JSN, the receiver for the Seahawks. Or for the Seahawks, yeah. So in their game with the Patriots, if you notice on JSN's arm, he's got a cowboy tattoo. That'll be the first appearance by the Cowboys in the Super Bowl in 3 decades. That's kind of funny. Sam Darnold, if he wins the Super Bowl, where does he rank among his 2018 class when he was drafted? That was the same class as Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, and now Sam Darnold was in that class too. Where does he rank then in that? Since he was the first one to make the Super Bowl and win it, is he the man? How does that go? That's good water talk cooler stuff coming up the next couple weeks.
Good question.
The WNBA, according to ESPNW, they're set to begin their season May 8th. The league is going to play 44 games. They are going to take a break of 17 days for the FIBA World Cup. So they will have a break in there like hockey does during their season and stuff. So that's fine. So we'll see how that works out for the WNBA. That's assuming their contracts come through. And they're all okay there. Here we go. You want that? Well, I know. It's just tough. Now, if you look here at the graphic, here's who's cheering who for the Super Bowl.
Yes.
Red dot for the Patriots. Little green dot over there for the Seahawks. And the rest of us are just waiting for baseball to start.
I did see that. That's very good. Very good. You get the East, the big swings, East Coast, West Coast, and everyone in the middle is waiting for baseball. That's pretty good. I like it.
I mean, of course, there's another one. No, the Super Bowl, but spring training coming up, maybe.
Yes.
And of course, you remember the old scorebooks you used to get like this? You'd go to the game, and you pay $1 or $2.
Yes.
Get the program or scorebooks. I wish they had that again instead of like online things and buying tickets for this and that. I want an old-fashioned scorebook to sit at the ball game with.
Now, Andy, last year, my wife and I went to the Braves game against the Twins in Atlanta.
Yep.
And got one of those yearbooks, the big thick one, almost like the media guide, but a yearbook. But in the middle was the paper on both sides, and you could do the scoring. And so it's not the score book, but they still insert those into some of those programs.
If you buy the souvenir yearbooks, but if you're the season ticket holder or you go to locally a handful of games a year, I'm not going to buy a book every time.
Yes. So the two fold over, and it's usually like $1.
Yeah. And they used to give that stuff at the Metrodome.
Nobody does those.
Yeah, it looks like someone printed them off of the computer beforehand, and here you go. And I'd even still take that now just to keep score on. But
yep.
Now here is why we're going to have a lockout at the end of the season. The Dodgers are paying a grand total of $3 million a year in actual salary to Shohei Ohtani and Kyle Tucker. Ohtani gets $2 million, with $68 million being deferred, and Tucker will get $1 million, with $64 million being deferred. Or a bonus. I mean, his is going to come $64 million bonus before spring training.
Okay.
And Ohtani's is deferred. So their huge salaries only counting $3 million on the cap. And this is what's going to stop. Now, the Yankees used to do this all the time, and some people complained a little bit, but they let it go. But the Dodgers kind of taking it that next step. So, because the Yankees weren't deferring money later on and really outbidding everybody. The Yankees was paying up front and outbidding everybody. Still bad, but different. But this is why we're striking. We should call it the Kyle Tucker strike or lockout if it happens this year.
Yep.
Here's some NCHC hockey standings as of today. The North Dakota Fighting Sioux or Hawks or Chicken Hawks, whatever they're called, they're at first. Got Denver, the OC St. Cloud State at 5. Yeah, that's right. At 7 is Arizona State. So, yeah. You're reading that correctly. And the Summit women's basketball, there's the Bison on top, the Bunnies at 2, and the rest of the free world after that. But it's basketball, not football. You look at the standings, you think it's that. But, you got Oral Roberts at 4, St. Thomas at 5. So they're all there. And one other thing I was going to bring up was, let me just get rid of this here, not there. The Mets have done a lot of signings the last few days, a lot of mid-tier signings, if you will.
Yep.
But if you look back, the ownership we have now and the GMs that the Mets have now came from the Brewers. And look what they got and look how they're doing. Not really Moneyball attitude, but a little bit the next step. I think Kyle Tucker's going to do very well. Kyle Tucker's going to do well with them. Are the guys we got afterwards going to do better or as good as him? I don't know. Is Bo Bichette going to be as good as Kyle Tucker? Is Bo Bichette going to fill Pete Alonso's shoes? Maybe. He's going to be able to do it for half the price, but get half the numbers? I don't know. Bichette hit 300 and was not striking out nearly as much. Again, he didn't have the home runs, but he had game-winning hits, clutch hits, stuff like that mattered. That's important. Like I said, I'd rather have a 300 hitter and 25 home runs than 50 home runs and a 250 hitter.
Makes sense.
The Mets picked up a lot of middle grade arms, a lot of 2 and 3 starters to fill in. I'm happy with that. I don't care what team you are. You got a bunch of number 2 starters on your team. Barely what the Twins got, and Kimball, Greg Kimball, the guy, the relief pitcher with that goofy, Mets signed him to a deal, spring training deal. Now, is he just so they have an extra arm because so many guys are going to be at World Baseball Classic? Are they thinking maybe call him up at least for the first half of the year until everybody gets their wind under him? And if he has one last lap around the track, good. If not, oh well. If he can get us through the first couple of months to get everybody else up the track, you're going to see a lot of these signings coming up now too for spring training for a lot of teams.
Yeah, I think their pitching depth makes sense because World Baseball Classic, even if there's an injury or 2 or 3 or some guys not get an injury, but it's more additional wear and tear on the arm for the World Baseball Classic, and something could happen. It could be a freak injury. It could be playing catch.
They're not in your regular games. You want them in. Yep. And if you want to get
opportunity for something to happen, so I think that's why they're going deep.
Yeah, and also if you want, like I said, beginning of the season, these guys aren't in shape yet, which they should be, but they're not. Get them going. Get them, a chance to get a few extra innings in. You're not rushing guys back. I know the Mets right now are looking at a 6-man rotation. You're gonna see that a lot of teams go with that now. Used to be a 4, occasionally a 5th starter. I think they're gonna probably go with a 6-man rotation, especially to start the year, because Senga was always a pitched every 6 days. Because that's the way it was in Japan. And you're a lot of guys are going to go with that. Do I have a problem with it? Not really. I just want to just say, like we've said before, don't compare the stats then to 20 years ago, 30 years ago, because it's different,
Yeah, even in, AAA, since they went to the new format of having Mondays off and then every series is a 6-game series,
Yep.
You're basically throwing a 6-man rotation already, or throwing 5 guys and doing a bullpen session for the 6th game. So it's not that uncommon, I think, because it may progress into the majors. That's a good point.
Yep. You might just see, like you said, more teams, you get the extra arms for the bullpen day.
Yeah.
That's what you do. And I don't like it, but I've accepted it. If you like the game, you accept the rule changes. That is there. We did have a college football championship. That's why we were kind of preempted last week. Congratulations, Indiana. Close game, right down to the buzzer. That's all I wanted. Fun game to the end. Hoosiers got the record for most wins. They'll all get their top picks now. Did Miami get hosed on calls? Everybody says that. Whoever loses gets hosed by calls, it seems like nowadays. So whatever. The NFL, like I said, has their Super Bowl coming up. Good games yesterday. New England, I don't want to hear that they beat a backup quarterback. The way that snow came at the end of the 3rd and 4th quarter, both teams were playing horrible anyway. I don't care who your quarterback was, no one's going to do nothing in that 4th quarter anyway. It just
impacted the kicking game.
Yep.
Boy.
Seattle turned it up. They were at home. I thought they were going to do a little better, but the Rams are just a good team. That's just a good team. So I wouldn't count the Rams out for next year. I don't think they need to get anyone for free agents to pick up their fine. Stanford might get MVP. He's getting a little long in the tooth. I'm not saying draft someone high to hold the clipboard for a few years. But if the Rams took someone in the 3rd or 4th round that was kind of maybe out there, maybe, And I did hear today for the Pro Bowl, which I mentioned this on the social media, is that this fill-in was made, in my opinion, because it's an ESPN game.
Okay.
Maine cannot be in the Pro Bowl because he's playing in the Super Bowl. They just, because of scheduling, they just don't have Super Bowl players in the Pro Bowl. So that means AFC has 2 quarterbacks now, not 3. Let's see. Trevor Lawrence was top 3 for MVP voting, had sweet numbers, had a great year. They didn't pick Trevor Lawrence to fill in for Maine, no. They took Shadur Sanders for the Pro Bowl.
Oh, see, I didn't know this.
Yeah, and it's an ESPN game.
Yeah,
It's all
geez.
flag football and fun stuff. You know that's why they took him. I'm sorry.
Okay. Yeah, I can see
He's a
their
media
reasoning.
darling to ESPN. That's why they took him. Period. I don't want to hear his 7 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. No, he was not a Pro Bowler. Who Daddy is and his name and it being a fun. We need people to watch the Pro Bowl. Let's get a name in here to watch. That's why they did it.
Yeah. Boy, for the kids out there as well, I can see why they did that, but typically it's just you just take the next best guy, the next best vote getter,
Yep.
the next best statistic guy, and bring that person up. But boy, that's very interesting.
I mean, because Savannah and I talked about it today. She thought she'd been Trevor Lawrence too.
Of course.
She thought because Savannah's left-handed, which had nothing to do with it because Trevor Lawrence is right-handed, but she didn't pick a left-handed quarterback. She didn't play favors like that. She just went to the next best man up, and that's what she did.
I like it.
She doesn't play favorites like that.
Now, how old is she?
She is going to be 3 months next week. At the 5th, she'll be 3 months old.
Well, good. She's a subscriber to the show. Then I'm hoping that'd be good.
Yes.
It's good stuff. She has earbuds. She can listen.
Yeah. She listens to it at night to keep sleeping. It just plays in the background.
Now, Andy, I have a question as far as the Minnesota Vikings.
Okay.
I made a post on our Twitter account yesterday. Once that game got over, once the Seahawks won and advanced, and Darnold very, very humble in his post-game interviews, very much a team player. Do you remember the summer of 2024 when the Vikings picked him up and the fan base poo-pooed that every day on social media? Darnold's a waste of time. Why do you pick up a journeyman quarterback? He hasn't had success anywhere else. You better be getting someone else on the free agent market because he's not going to be your guy. The Vikings fans, and I'm not one of them, but what I did see that year was ruthless. Almost, I don't want to say hate, but it was so negative from the Minnesota Vikings fans. Darnold the spewing came out. I'm just hoping he didn't read the tweets in 2024 leading up to that Viking training camp because the Vikings fans hated the guy.
I think that's one reason why he didn't re-sign here. I think he could have ran the table undefeated, won the Super Bowl. He still went to come back.
So
you couldn't have paid him enough.
We have, as you say, there's good fans and bad fans, but boy, I'm not a big Vikings guy myself, but reading the social media in the leading up to the training camp and summer training camp for the Vikings and the preseason games, the hate that was spewed by the Minnesota Vikings fans, I couldn't believe it. Now there's hate, for anything mentioning the Twins toward the Pohlads, that you're just going to get that. But the Darnold hate. Now, here's what Darnold did, and here's what my post said, that he went 14-3 with the Vikings.
Yep.
He goes off as a big dollar free agent to Seattle and goes 14-3. New system, new team, new coach, new offensive coordinator. 14-3. That's never, ever even happened to a team. And now he's going to the Super Bowl. But do we see, and I already know the answer to this, do we see any social media posts on Twitter for apologizing? Hey, I'm wrong. 2 years ago, I really gave Darnold the crap. I was wrong. I was an idiot keyboard warrior. You don't see that. You don't see that ever. But I felt bad for the guy back 2 years ago. He took a lot of steam.
They'll act like they never said it and go, we should have kept him. He's the greatest thing ever.
Well, that's what you see now. We should have kept him.
They all play the top on our card and ride with top.
Here's what we see now, and I saw it today. People saying, fire Kwesi. Why didn't we keep Darnold? What's wrong with us? We could have been in the Super Bowl. That could have been us. That's what these fans are doing.
Right.
This is what they're saying. And
listen to your KFAN tapes a year ago, then listen to them.
You almost have to go back and listen to them because it's the most psychotic thing I have ever heard. But boy, I remember back 2 years ago and the tweets and the social media posts every day. This is the Vikings aren't going to do anything. You can't sign this washed up veteran guy. He's worthless. He kept his mouth shut, his head down, and he grinded out a 14-win season. Same here. So I made the tweet last night. I didn't mean for it to be offensive or anything aggressive, but it was just the facts. It was so bad in 2024, and now you don't hear anything. You don't hear any. Oh, I guess I was wrong. I guess I'm sorry. But my question is this, Andy.
Yes. Happens every now and then. The audio just cuts out. I'm sorry, the audio cut out there. I didn't hear what you said.
Very good quality of football, whether it's the wild card, championship, divisional game, or the championship series. We've got lucky with having all these good games.
I think, and speaking of controversial things, I kind of mentioned it today on social medias, and I saw the rebuttal afterwards. The Vikings radio announcer, Paul Allen.
Yes.
I guess I don't know if it was on the show or an interview, he popped off about the events going on in Minneapolis.
Oh, yes.
I'm not going to get into it too much. Not even going to get into what he said. He said something that was controversial. He made his apology afterwards. I'm just going to go with, like I said before, it all depends. It matters on who owns the station. He should have been fired because it's a clear channel. It's a big market station, and he's a big market guy. They won't fire him. He should have been fired. And funny, he's taken a few weeks off now afterwards. Well, he's the Viking announcer. I'm pretty sure he takes a vacation around now anyway, so what a coincidence. I'm not buying the apology. KFAN doesn't need to do it for ratings stunts. They're top dog in the area, so they don't need to do it. But Paul Allen, I think, kind of did it in a way because he's one of those guys who likes the sound of his own voice and likes to see his name all over the place. Likes to see his picture all over. All these KFAN people that love their station think that everything that spits out of that station is gospel. Mm-hmm. Like you said, the hate 2 years ago about Darnold and he's the second coming. Well, why did we get rid of him this year? It's all coming out of that garbage factory over there. And he's probably one of the first ones leading the cheer. But he said something, and I said, I'm not going to get into what he said. For this is not sports and songs and politics right now, so we're not going to go down that road. He said something controversial, which, again, we don't get into that here because people listen to this to get away from that. KFAN keeps fishing everybody back into it. They're half sports now, as far as I'm concerned. I don't think Burrow's mentioned sports in weeks. He's all politics and what he wants to talk about.
It's kind of like MTV back in the day.
Right. They slowly start getting away from videos. KFAN probably won't talk sports much at all anymore. Unless it's the Vikings. It might as well just be K-Viking station because that's all they talk about. But see, that's what I mean. The athletes, I'm so impressed with the games this weekend. Yes, it was mostly Minnesota stuff, politically wise, issues wise, but they didn't bring it up, which they very well could have because it's been national news, and you didn't hear it brought up at all. So I respect that. I thought that was hats off to the NFL announcers for doing that because that could have very well easily been brought up. I know Twins Fest had some delays on it. Hockey Day in Minnesota canceled because of weather. Yeah. Timberwolves had to postpone a game or cancel a game because of the events. So a lot of events are happening outside that are affecting other things. So apologies to those who are trying to watch the local sports here and can't because of this. Apologize. Don't hold it against us. We're just a bunch of country bumpkins out here in Western Carver County. Don't blame us.
But Paul Allen, once again, it comes down to the comment that he made was, I think, either working at KFAN or on the KFAN Twitter or something on behalf of KFAN. And that's the problem. Now, if he would have logged, off and made it on his personal post, it would have been less, I guess, dire. but you also know that as a professional, when you're a face of the station or a big name personality, that anything you say is going to be put under a microscope. So even if you would have made that comment on his personal Twitter or personal Facebook, it would have drew criticism. So you have to know not even to make those statements because they're going to get scrutinized. And so he did it. He apologized. I don't know, what I believe with all that, but
Yeah.
it's a poor decision. Let's leave it at that. Maybe.
Yeah. You can't apologize for what you said because you said it, so you must have meant it a little bit.
Yes.
Even if you said it in haste or in hate or in the moment you said it, you still said it. Therefore, you must have felt it.
Given a statement and say, hey, read this and it'll all go away. But you're right. It's the off season. How convenient. So next time we'll see him as, he's a Canterbury Downs play-by-play horse.
And that's everything. Will it carry over to that?
Yeah. So
Canterbury Downs looking for somebody new.
Yeah, he's very good at that. I do like his play-by-play with horse racing. I don't like the football side of what he does. I don't like it. And maybe he's good. My opinion is that I can't listen to him. But horse racing, very good. The guy's got talent, but probably a poor choice of even bringing up anything because now what we're seeing is it's so polarized. There's no middle ground. You say something wrong, you're going to get hated by 50% and loved and adored by the other 50%. There's no middle ground. And so that's just what happens. So now, Andy, I did a Minnesota Twins bonus episode this week and pushed that out there, got that on the air. What I'd like to do, and I'm going to bring it up with your Mets team, is what I kind of focus on was defense, how teams are stacked defensively at their positions rather than just, bringing in guys that can hit. And so what we have this year, and I'm really interested in following that, the Mets picked up Polanco. Hey, we're going to move you to first, and let's pick up Bichette, and let's move you to third. I'm not of course, not a big fan of that. I'm a big fan of, Brooks Lee. You're short. We don't want you fiddling around at first, fiddling around at second base. Play the position and be done with it. Royce Lewis, you're third. Buxton, you're center. Let's not have all these guys platooning. And here the Mets get their corner infielders, studs, baseball studs, very, very good. But we've never played the position. So, yes, now they're going to get a chance to play their 30 days, games. Roughly it's a month in spring training at the new position. And we already know they can hit. They're great base runners and teammates and clubhouse mates. I don't see it being a big issue, but for the Mets, you have to now expect that there may be an error or two at first base by Polanco, an error or two by Bichette, and that's just going to happen. You have to build in that thought because they're starting to think all over again what they're doing, rather than playing a professional athlete position where it just comes natural and you don't think, oh, we do is react. And it's interesting. So I kind of focus on that with some of the Twins. Bader?
Beatty for the Mets is going to get bounced back to first and third because he was playing third.
Yes.
They wanted to move him to first. He's a good fill in one of those two on a day off. I think between those three would be Polanco or Beatty. Probably Beatty will be the DH.
Okay.
But if they want to give Polanco a day off the field, those two will switch. They want to give Boucher a day off the field, those two will switch.
And then with Houston, Correa is always said, he wants to play third base. Well, that's good and fine. We can bring in someone else to play short, but it's going to take some repetition. It's going to take several months in the season to get used to all the little intricacies that go on defensively at your base. It's not just picking up the ball and simply throwing it over. It's all these random situations that happen. So it'll be interesting to see. I do think they're two good pickups for the Mets. I mean, Bichette, I've always liked. Polanco is good. He's just a natural, gifted athlete guy. He's gonna do well. And Luis Arise has not been picked up by anybody. This is a three-time batting champion.
I don't get that. That just confuses me.
So now it makes me wonder, is he not that good of a fit as a clubhouse guy? Is there something that they're staying away from him? I don't know, but
what is the reason why they don't want him?
As a three-time batting champion, I would put him as an everyday DH if you don't know where to put him, or if you got guys already at the position. First
of all, I'd get him and ask him where he wanted to play. You want to play first? You want to play second? You want DH? Where do you want? If you all learn to play center field and you could bat 330, I'll let you play center field.
And so that's the difference. He didn't win it one time. He didn't win it two times. He won it three times, and all three were back to back to back, weren't they?
Yeah, different teams too.
With different teams. I mean, So that is a gem. There's a gem right there. You don't see that often enough. And when we look back 10 years from now, we're going to say Luis Ariz is a Hall of Fame first ballot guy. How come no one was even going after him? And it's spring training and no one has even reached out to sign him yet. So I'm going to monitor that because it's very strange that's going on. I'm a big Ariz fan, of course, but I don't care where he plays defensively. You need to have a guy like that on your team, unless he's something in the clubhouse. I can't imagine. He's always been a fun guy, easy to get along with as far as how it's been portrayed.
Yeah, because I've never heard his name. He's not a media darling. You don't hear his name on the social medias or anything like that. You don't hear the other national shows talking him up. So
he's got a very heavy accent. He's had rough, it's a heavy accent with the translator and stuff. So he's not getting into any trouble, but boy, that's interesting to see. And I think
Savannah knows better English than Otani, and he's a media darling. So
yes. Now Ariz also does not seem to be a big money guy that I'm going to hold out for the biggest with my agent to make millions. No, he just wants to play. So there's something I'm not picking up yet on that. If someone knows the details, please leave a comment below. Yeah. But it is interesting nonetheless, as good as he is. Andy, anything else for sports, or should we hit to the trivia question?
Let's hit the trivia answer.
Trivia question was, on this day, 1992, who was playing in the Super Bowl, and where was the Super Bowl 1992? Any answers?
Well, that was the big year around here locally with everything going on. So I think that was at the Hubert H. Humphrey Metrodome, I believe.
Yes.
And it was the Redskins and who'd they play? Buffalo?
The Bills. 1992. Big world was focused on Minneapolis, St. Paul.
Rumor has it in that game, Thurman Thomas, somewhere on the way to the game, lost his helmet. And they had to go to the novelty store down the street and get a Bills helmet for him.
I think I've heard this before.
That's urban legend, but I remember hearing that. It also happened around that same time, Lou Whitaker's uniform was lost for the All-Star game, and he had to get one from the pro shop to wear.
Yes. The Lou Whitaker story. Well, that was 1992. So Redskins won. They beat the Buffalo Bills. The MVP was Mark Rippon, the quarterback for the Redskins. Mark Rippon. Now we have a tie-in locally here with the Minnesota Vikings.
Yes.
His nephew, Brett Rippon, is on the Vikings as a third-string quarterback. So Brett Rippon is his uncle. Mark Rippon's his uncle. Now I used to think that was his kid for some reason. I was confused.
Mark Rippon's kid, Angela,
his daughter, okay,
played in what's now known as the Legends Football League, but at the time, the Lingerie Football League. She was quarterback in that.
So, oh, really? She was a quarterback in the Lingerie Football League.
From what I've heard, I don't watch that sort of stuff.
We don't watch. We don't have.
What I've heard, Brian and
his daughter Angela.
The parking lot told me so.
Well, if anyone's Vikings fans that knows Brett, can always ask the question about his cousin. Maybe he'll be interested in hearing those stories about Angela. But yes, that was Minneapolis in the news, 1992 on this day. Now, we are also in the news for other reasons, but we won't talk about that. Hi, Savannah.
Hi.
Well, that's all we've got for this week's sports episode. Andy, anything else?
No, I don't think Savannah's going to make it for the music episode this week, though. Just because it's not her genre. She's still learning. I'm slowly teaching her that type of music, but she's
teaching her many things.
Yeah, we're worried about getting baseball done right now before I worry about the 80s music with her.
Spring training's coming up. Go Mets.
Go Mets.
All right, sounds good. Have a good week. We'll see you on Monday next week.
Bye. Bye.